What's life like for the hostages taken by Hamas after that deadly terror attack on October 7th? New details from just released hostages may surprise you. Plus, Tiffany Hadish is finally speaking out after her second DUI arrest, and why you should maybe think twice about eating avocados right now on Notice News. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Springer, and this is Notice News, your daily news update on YouTube. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell to stay up to date. We're hearing what life was like as a hostage of Hamas now that the terror group has released over 50 people it took captive in its shocking raid on Israel on October 7th. 3 of the hostages released this weekend were 9-year-old Ohad Munder, his mother Corinne, and his grandmother Ruth. They spent 49 days in Gaza as prisoners of Hamas, and their cousins spoke to my old employer, NBC News.
They were with one guy who kept them all the time, and she told me that all the time he did like that. So they were scared, they were whispering.
Were they ever tortured by Hamas?
No, I don't think so.
The family says they were moved constantly between houses and tunnels.
They didn't get a lot of food. To go to the bathroom, they had to knock on the door, and then 1.5 hours waiting or 2 hours.
She also said they never saw other hostages and were completely cut off from the world, so they had no idea of the scale of the October 7th attack.
It was on the television? Are you serious? I told her, your picture is all over the world.
Until now, most of what was known about what life was like as a hostage came from this 85-year-old who was released more than a month ago. She said Hamas treated her well after the initial hell of being kidnapped. Meanwhile, there's been a temporary pause in Israel's revenge on Gaza for the attack, which allowed this before and after footage of Gaza to be made, showing the utter destruction Israel has unleashed on the Palestinian people as a whole. So far, what's unclear is what Israel will do next. I want to know what you think. Do you think it's time for Israel to stop bombing Gaza and agree to a ceasefire? A ceasefire that most Americans support, by the way? Let me know in the comments down below. Moving on. Yesterday we talked about Tiffany Hadish, who was arrested for the second time for driving under the influence last week. She was allegedly found asleep behind the wheel of a running car in Los Angeles, and then went on stage the next night and made a joke about it. Well, now Tiffany says she's getting help. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, she says this will, quote, never happen again, and that she's going to get some help to, quote, learn boundaries. I asked you guys what you thought. Should Tiffany be making jokes at a time like this? And overwhelmingly, you guys told me, no, this girl needs to get her shit together. Avocados wrote, someone should be in a dryout. And then you took aim at our writer, which is me. Melvin Reed wrote, superstar, you're funny. I mean, I try to be. What counts as a superstar? She's got a Grammy and an Emmy. That's one more Grammy than either of us have, Melvin. If you're like me, an average millennial gay man, you must love avocados. They are everywhere, from the obligatory avocado toast at brunch to California rolls at sushi places, and of course, in guacamole. Our local grocery store, Stu Leonard's, even sells this adorable avocado plush doll that sings. Yeah, okay, that's a little racist. All these avocados mean demand in the United States has skyrocketed in recent years. According to the USDA, we eat 3 times as many avocados as we did just 20 years ago. What our society of consumer capitalism doesn't often force us to think about is where these things come from. In this case, an avalanche of avocados, and what that means for the people and places who produce what we consume. And yes, I'm about to ruin avocados for you. Well, not me, but the New York Times, who reported this week that our appetite for avocados is fueling a, quote, blood-soaked trade that's devastating Mexican forests. That's because they say this incredibly profitable business, which brings in billions of dollars a year, is leading to gangs in southern Mexico burning down existing forests and planting their own avocado trees while muscling out through violence and intimidation anybody who tries to stand in their way. And of course, this is all fueling more climate change. In addition to the deforestation, avocado trees suck up an insane amount of water, draining local aquifers. An adult avocado tree uses 14 times the amount of water as an adult pine tree, water locals use to farm other crops. Mexican officials have called on the US to stop the sale of avocados that were grown illegally on deforested lands, but surprise, surprise, the US has yet to do anything about it. Maybe that's because the entire system of capitalism, which is set up to only care about returning money to wealthy shareholders, doesn't give a shit about the environment, workers, you, or me. All right, let's get a timer going for 60-second headlines. Terrifying video captures the moment some idiot on a plane in New Orleans decides to exit through an emergency door. Thankfully, the plane was still on the ground. He then tried to make a run for it across the tarmac.
He is right there. Oh my goodness.
Stephen Colbert is taking a break from hosting The Late Show, at least for a little while. In a post on Threads, he claims the move comes not after a turkey overdose, but a ruptured appendix. The most surprising part of the story? People are apparently still using Threads. And in another case of people doing stupid shit, dashcam video caught this police chase in Michigan after a 12-year-old boy stole a construction vehicle that was parked outside of his middle school. Apparently, someone left the keys in the cab. He was eventually taken into custody. That's it for today. If you want to find out more about something I covered, links to sources and references are down below in the description. Make sure to like and subscribe to get noticed news here on YouTube, and go follow us on Snapchat and TikTok. I'll see you back here tomorrow.